Pressure is something we all have to deal with because it's something we all experience. Particularly at work, it's something that can be difficult because it can make our work unpleasant and it can make us a less effective version of ourselves when we're dealing with pressure. And I wanted to do a short talk so that you could start to see how to deal with pressure better. The key to dealing with pressure more effectively is going back to the drawing board about what pressure is and where it comes from. As an example, I want to talk a little bit about the work that we do in the hospitality industry. So when you're working with staff of hotels and particularly restaurants, particularly within the kitchens, but throughout the whole restaurant, people are rated on their ability to deal with pressure. Because in theory, it's a very high pressure environment, particularly the kitchen. It's hot. There's huge amount to do to a very high standard in a short amount of time. And there's usually someone who's very aggressive shouting at you to do it. And there's a high probability that if you do it wrong, someone's going to get very angry with you and give you a really hard time. Okay? So hopefully that's a credible example of dealing with pressure. And then for the service staff, the same is true. But they have the additional pressure of the diners and the customer service and the customer satisfaction. So they're always very interested in how to deal with pressure. And one of the things that's difficult in dealing with pressure is once you feel under pressure, it's really hard to deal with. And this is because people misunderstand what pressure is. As soon as people feel pressure, because they're feeling it, everything looks like it's weighing on you, that it's pressuring you because you're feeling under pressure. Now, I'm going to suggest as soon as you feel under pressure, the problem is you are in a pressurized state of mind, which is why everything that happens feels like it's the straw that's about to break the camel's back because of your state of mind. And if you're in a pressurized job, one of the clues to this is that you feel pressure differently on different days, not always because of the external pressures, but because of your state of mind. And you've probably noticed you have colleagues that are under equal amounts of pressure than you who look like they don't feel as pressured. And you probably have colleagues or people that work for you that aren't really under as much pressure as you and maybe aren't under pressure at all, but feel incredibly pressurized. So there's this separation between the pressure of the situation and the pressure you feel. Now, most people assume they're dealing with the pressure of the situation. And I'm going to suggest that's impossible. You can't feel a situation, you feel your experience of the situation. So you're dealing with the pressure you feel. And if you really think about it, being under pressure is only a problem when you start feeling under pressure. If you don't feel under pressure, dealing with pressure is usually not a problem, and sometimes you might not even notice you're under pressure. Because you're dealing with whatever state of mind you're in. So dealing with pressure is dealing with the experience of being under pressure, dealing with the state of mind of pressure. And the key difficulty is, as soon as you assume the pressure is coming from the outside, you don't address your own state of mind and you're victimized by it. So you're constantly feeling under pressure. And it's very hard to think straight and behave reasonably when you're feeling under pressure. Because in some ways you're intoxicated, you're almost insane with the state of mind and the distortion of mind that comes from feeling under pressure. Now, I hope that makes sense. And if you see that when you're dealing with pressure, you're dealing with the state of mind of being under pressure, all you need to do is to get a thorough understanding that your state of mind is just your thinking, and pressurized thinking is not helpful thinking. And as soon as you start seeing that feeling under pressure is something you don't need to worry about, you don't need to get distracted by, you don't want to react to, you want to just let it run its course, like a bad smell. If there's a bad smell in the room, the more you think about it, the worse your experience of it, the harder it is to deal with. If you notice it, you know you don't like it, and you don't worry about it, it's still there, but you don't experience it as much, and before you know it, it's gone. You don't know when it's gone. Whereas if you're thinking about it, it takes forever to go because you're thinking about it and you're struggling with it. And the problem with reacting badly to the experience of being under pressure is that you get focused on it the way you get focused on a bad smell. And so not only are you under pressure in a tense state of mind, which makes it harder to do your job and think straight, but you're also preoccupied with the fact that you're in that state of mind. So it's a wonder people can do their job at all when they're doing that. But at best case, they don't do it as well as they usually do. The key to dealing with pressure well is knowing that you're dealing with the experience of pressure, and that's just a feeling, which is just a thought, and that's not something you need to worry about. It's a bad smell in your mind. Now, when I say this to people who are in pressurized environments, it really sounds like I'm being disrespectful of the challenges they face, and I don't mean to. So, as a way of helping you see that I'm talking about something real, if you step back, you'll notice that you deal with equally pressurized situations in different ways. So, for example, many wait staff I deal with are extremely victimized and find it hard to deal with the pressure of their superiors. Get the plates out, go, go, go. And they find it very easy to deal with the pressure that comes from the clients. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to react badly to the clients because you lose your tip and you get at odds with them and you get complaints. So they just don't do it. So no matter how much pressure they're on the floor, they don't take it seriously. It doesn't hang on them. They deal very well with pressure on the floor. Behind the scenes, they get distracted. They react badly to the experience of pressure because they basically blame it on their boss, and it's something they struggle with and they never get past. It starts as the same feeling, but it goes in two very different directions. One direction, you deal very badly with pressure because you assume it's real and you react badly to it at best, and you get preoccupied with it at worst. And because you see it coming from the situation, you expect it to happen the next time, so you go back to the very thinking that was causing the bad state of mind in the first place. If you can see that pressure is just a bad smell in your head, it's just an unuseful thought, and it's going to run its course like every other thought, you'll deal very well with pressure because you take it in stride. And as you take unhelpful thoughts and bad feelings in stride, you'll find yourself returning to a state of clarity. And this is what the wait staff see. That's exactly what happens with clients. They react badly, but they know they can't go into it. They ignore it because it's not relevant. It comes away and they deal very well with pressure. So dealing well with pressure is all about how you understand it. Every time you assume you're victimized by it, it's happening to you, you've already dealt badly with it. And the way that you operate and feel is just going to play that out. Every time you realize that pressure is just a feeling, and that feeling is just a state of mind, and you can have a very graceful relationship to a disturbing state of mind, you will deal very well with pressure. And you'll also see that there are many times in your life when you already do deal very well with pressure.